Well, here we are at the Pergamon Museum in Berlin, and antiquities to blow your head off. Just beautiful stuff from at least 2,000 years ago. And some of the stuff I want to find out more about, which leads me to ask Harold Jarche to tell me a little bit about learning stuff personally, personal knowledge management. What is this?
PKM is really just it's a process by which we make sense of all the noise around us, all the flows of information, and how we process it. So PKM is the way in which I go from there's a whole bunch of stuff coming through, and I process it in terms of either writing about it or reflecting on it or sharing it with other people, and then continuously working that through and making my own sense, which could be things like I read something on the web, I mark it with a bookmark, I find it later, I put it together, I write a blog post, and then over time, like in my case, I've written several thousand blog posts, kind of like you have, and those blog posts become articles, and they become papers, and they change the way that I think about things because I create new mental models and new frameworks for thinking about things.
So
So we're doing it.
okay, well, we're back after being, well, not arrested, but let's say chastised by the authorities here at the museum who thought we were doing something commercial, which, of course, it's far from us to make any money, God. But I was thinking that, I used to make sense of things with journals, scrapbooks, photographs, although the photographs were rare. It was, film cost money, and it was laborious. You couldn't see them, that kind of thing. But it sounds like within your concept of personal knowledge management, you're doing this digitally.
Yeah, and I think what really makes that different from journaling the way that we did before is that we kept all of that to ourselves. And the nice thing about personal knowledge management is that the PKM that I'm interested in is PKM using web tools. And because I put it on a blog, it's for me, but I also share it. And by sharing it and other people reading it, people commenting, people connecting to it, is that it enriches the learning experience. And as you know, 10, 12 years ago, that's how you and I got to know each other. I was reading your blog, I was commenting on it, and because of that, we got to understand each other. And now, here we are in Berlin working together.
Yeah, well, that's very true. In fact, I remember consciously when I really started to blog heavily. And for a while, 10 years ago, I had 5 blogs, which is crazy. But I could feel spending less time on my journal and just putting it out there. So, and indeed, all of a sudden, I'd get comments back. And it was a dynamic experience instead of one hermit writing, What tools, or say your top 5, as far as how you enable this?
I would say that for me what's really important are tools like aggregators or feed readers, because it's a way in which I can bring in a lot of different sources into one place. My blog is really the central part because that's where I can put down thoughts really without limitation. I can control in terms of deciding when I put everything onto it. Other people can connect to it, and that's sort of a permanent residence. It's what I call, it's my permanent presence on the web. Twitter has really become a powerful tool for connecting because of the limitation of the 140 characters, it means that I can actually follow more people and I can connect in more ways. If I was actually writing more than 140 characters, I wouldn't be following hundreds of people. So I think that's a really important tool. And probably the other one is social bookmarks. And just because social bookmarks means that I can access all those things that I have found from wherever I am and from any computer or anything like that. Plus you get the serendipitous aspect of connecting with others. I can look at your bookmarks, you can look at mine, we can tag them, we can annotate them, and I think that becomes very powerful after you have a few hundred of them.
I'm right with you on those, but a couple more that and this is something somewhat idiosyncratic, but I've just got to have, is one, I always want to have my default places and things set up. So I've always had a page or two of HTML with links to Jay's favorites on this. So, well, when people ask me, well, where'd you have this video? I go to my seminal videos page.
Yes.
Go to my, seminal documents in the history of digital media page and things like that. And the other thing for me, and it's funny because here Paul's taking a picture of us with one of my cameras, but taking photographs and being able to look back, and part of it's, you know, a beautiful museum, part of it is people's killer slides, part of it is, oh, I remember that guy's name is Paul, you know, week before, blitzed out. But I find that the photographic images so reinforce things that they really keep me learning.
Yeah, I just to follow up on the photo side is that this week we've been in Potsdam and Berlin, and I didn't bring a battery charger with me, so I had to be very careful on how much of my photograph battery I could use. And we were out for a couple of days, and we went to the Drachenhaus in Sanssouci in Potsdam, and both you and Stephen Downs were taking pictures and video, and I know that both of you are going to share, and that so for me it's wonderful is that I know, is that I was watching, I saw, well, these two guys, this is going to be online, and I'm going to have access to my memories, even though I forgot to bring a battery charger, which I thought was great. So sharing helps all of us.
If anybody listening does not tag things where others can, you know, find them and share in them, start right now, because this is very important for just making the world a better place.
It's just like what you learned in kindergarten. Share.
Oh, well, I haven't gone that far since kindergarten. I think that's it. Thank you very much from the Pergamon Museum.